Captain Zarath's crimson scales rippled with barely contained authority as she strode across the bridge of the Void Serpent. Her crew of draconian warriors snapped to attention, their own scales darkening in respectful submission. At 7 feet, tall with razor-sharp talons and eyes like molten gold, she commanded fear and loyalty in equal measure, all except from the human sitting casually in the navigator's chair. Marcus Chen continued studying the star charts, his fingers dancing across the holographic display with practiced ease. 2 years aboard this ship had taught him that showing fear only invited trouble, and he'd learned long ago that confidence was humanity's greatest weapon. "Report," Zarath commanded, her voice carrying the natural growl of her species. 3 hegemony patrol ships detected at the edge of the Kepler Nebula, reported First Officer Vextar, his bronze scales gleaming under the bridge lights. "They're scanning merchant vessels." Zarath's golden eyes narrowed. "Typical parasites. We'll take the long route through the asteroid field." She turned toward Marcus, and her expression softened almost imperceptibly. "Can your species' navigation skills handle the gravitational anomalies?" Marcus looked up from his console, meeting her gaze steadily. "When have I ever let you down?" A ripple of amusement passed through Zarath's scales, shifting them from deep red to a warmer amber. Before she could respond, the bridge's communication array crackled to life. "Unknown vessel. This is Hegemony Cruiser Dominance. Prepare for inspection." The bridge fell silent. Every Draconian present knew what hegemony inspections meant for ships carrying contraband medical supplies to the outer colonies. Marcus had seen the footage of their compliance enforcement methods. "They must have detected our heat signature," Vextar muttered, his claws scraping nervously against his console. "Impossible," Zarath snarled. "We're running silent." Marcus frowned, pulling up the sensor readings. After a moment, his eyes widened. "Captain, they're not tracking our ship, they're tracking me." The bridge erupted in confused growls and hissing. Zarath's scales darkened to deep crimson. "Explain." "Humans emit a unique bioelectric signature," Marcus said, his fingers flying across the controls. "I've been masking it, but the new hegemony sensors must be more sophisticated than we thought." "Hegemony vessel approaching fast," reported the tactical officer. 2 minutes to intercept." Zarath's mind raced. The medical supplies they carried could save thousands of lives in the plague-stricken outer rim, but if the hegemony found them, she looked at Marcus, seeing the same calculation in his dark eyes. "There might be a way," Marcus said quietly, "but you won't like it. Tell me. Humans are classified as domestic companions under hegemony law. Pets, essentially. If they think I'm your property, they won't question my presence." The bridge fell deadly silent. Among Draconians, the concept of ownership of sentient beings was deeply offensive. Zarath's scales flashed through several colors before settling on a dangerous shade of black. "Incoming transmission from the hegemony vessel," announced the communications officer. Zarath straightened, every inch the predator. On screen, a holographic figure materialized above the central console. Commander Thalex of the Hegemony Navy, his insectoid features twisted in familiar arrogance. His compound eyes gleamed as they took in the Draconian crew. "Captain Zarath," he clicked, mandibles spreading in what passed for a smile among his species. "Still playing merchant, I see. We've detected a human biosignature aboard your vessel. Explain." Marcus caught Zarath's eye and nodded slightly. She hesitated for just a moment before her expression hardened into cold disdain. "Must I explain every acquisition to you, Commander?" she drawled, her voice dripping with aristocratic contempt. She gestured dismissively toward Marcus. "My pet serves adequately enough." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow, even though he'd suggested the deception. Around the bridge, he could see the Draconian crew's scales shifting uncomfortably. The concept was as alien to them as it was degrading to him. Commander Thalex's interest sharpened. A human pet? How exotic. I wasn't aware Captain Zarath indulged in such luxuries. There are many things you don't know about me, Commander, Zarath replied smoothly. Marcus knew this was his moment. The next few words would either save them all or damn them. He stood slowly from his chair and walked to Zarath's side. The bridge held its collective breath. "Only yours, Captain," he said quietly, but loud enough for the transmission to pick up. "Always only yours." The effect was immediate and devastating. Zarath's scales erupted in a cascade of deep emerald and gold, colors that Marcus had learned indicated intense emotional turmoil among Draconians. Her golden eyes widened, and for the first time since he'd known her, the fearsome pirate captain looked utterly flustered. Commander Thalex chittered with amusement. "How delightfully domestic." "Very well, Captain. Your pet seems well trained. We'll be on our way." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Marcus could feel every pair of eyes on them, but his attention was focused solely on Zarath. Her scales continued their chaotic dance of colors, and she seemed unable to meet his gaze. "Captain," Vextar ventured carefully, "they're moving away. We're clear." Zarath nodded stiffly. "Resume course for the Kepler system. Maximum stealth." The crew began moving with practiced efficiency, but Marcus noticed the sideways glances, the whispered conversations. Word of what had just transpired would spread through the ship within hours. "Marcus," Zarath said quietly, still not looking at him. "My quarters. Now." As they walked through the corridors, Marcus couldn't help but notice how Zarath's usually confident stride had become uncertain, almost hesitant. Her scales continued their color display, cycling through shades he'd never seen before. Once, inside her private quarters, she finally turned to face him. "Why did you say that?" "It's what a pet would say," Marcus replied carefully. "I was maintaining the cover story." "No." Her voice was barely above a whisper. "It wasn't just what you said. It was how you said it, like you meant it." Marcus studied her face, seeing vulnerability beneath the predator's mask for the first time. "Maybe I did." Zarath's scales shifted to a soft lavender, a color Marcus had never seen on any Draconian. "Do you know what those colors mean?" She asked, gesturing to her own skin. "I've learned some of them. Red for anger, black for rage, gold for amusement." "This color," she said, touching her arm where the lavender was deepest, "means something we don't have a word for in Standard. The closest translation would be hope, vulnerable hope." Marcus stepped closer. "Hope for what?" "That maybe when you said only yours, you weren't just playing a role." Her golden eyes met his. "That maybe this human who refuses to show fear, who navigates impossible courses, who just saved my entire crew, maybe he could belong to someone like me." "Zarath," Marcus said softly, "I stopped being afraid of you a long time ago, but that doesn't mean I stopped respecting you or caring about you." Her scales rippled through a dozen shades before settling on a warm gold that seemed to glow from within. "The crew will talk." "Let them. A wise captain once told me that. Showing fear only invites trouble." Marcus smiled. "Besides, I think they already knew." Zarath's laugh was like music, rich and genuine. "You're either the bravest human in the galaxy or the most foolish. With you, probably both." As the Void Serpent continued its journey through the stars, carrying hope to the outer colonies, its captain and navigator discovered that sometimes the most unexpected bonds are forged not in battle, but in the quiet moments when two souls recognize something precious in each other, And if the crew noticed their captain's scales had taken on a permanent golden glow, well, they were wise enough to keep such observations to themselves. After all, even pirates understood that some treasures were worth protecting.